I get it, and I was like, oh, I know.
Welcome to the December 5th School District of Haverford Township Board Conference and Business Meeting. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Regal, could you call the roll, please?
Dr. Crispin?
Present.
Mr. Fleischer?
Here.
Ms. Larson?
Here.
Minji?
Here.
Mr. Cinto?
Here.
Mr. Schwartz?
Here.
Ms. Snodgrass?
Here.
Mr. Wiedemann?
Ms. Weedon.
Ms. Weedon? Mr. Feinberg?
I think I'm here. Thank you, Bob. I'll accept the motion to approve the regular official board minutes from the November 21st regular public board meeting.
Move. Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes from the December 2nd reorganization meeting.
Move.
Seconded.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is public comment. Nobody has signed up in advance to speak this evening. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in public comment? Hearing none? Okay, thank you. Next item on our agenda is our student reports. This evening, we have Anya Eberhardt from the middle school and Kate Bongiovanni from the high school.
Thank you, Board, for allowing me the opportunity to present to you this evening. My name is Anaya Eberhardt, and I am in 8th grade at Haverford Middle School. At school, I play for the 8th grade girls basketball team, and I also plan on running track for the school in the spring. Outside of school, I play AAU basketball. I attended Coopertown Elementary School. Seventh Heaven is performing at the Philadelphia Flyers game tonight. This is the third year that Miss Langley and Seventh Heaven performed at the Wells Fargo Center. They will be singing holiday songs in the lobby by Section 111 before the game. Seventh Heaven is a finalist in the B101 Christmas Choir competition. They were featured on B101 again today with 2 other semifinalists. You can vote on the B101 website until 9:00 p.m. and the winner will be announced tomorrow. Tomorrow is the midpoint of the second marking period. The midpoint of the marking period follows our student-led conferences from last week. So everyone should know how they are performing as well as the areas they want to focus on moving forward. There will be an activities night for all students on Friday from 7 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. Tickets are sold during lunch at the door for $5. We have a lot of activities to enjoy, including a DJ and an open gym. Our choral department is sponsoring our annual Children's Hospital of Philadelphia toy drive. We collected over 2,200 toys last year and truly appreciated the generosity of our families. The toy drive ends tomorrow. The winter sports teams are practicing daily and anxiously looking forward to the beginning of their seasons. Games and matches for the winter sports teams begin the week of December 16th. Thank you, Board, for allowing me to present to you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Katie Bongiovanni, and I'm a junior at Haverford High School. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to speak to all of you about the events going on at Haverford. Although last week was shortened due to the Thanksgiving holiday, Haverford students were busy helping others and connecting with each other. The Best Buddies Club had their Thanksgiving feast on the 22nd, and everyone who participated brought food to make the meal delicious. National Honor Society's pie sale ended on Tuesday, with students delivering the 1,900 pies they sold to support NHS's annual gift drive for families in the community. Spirit Week came to a close last week with the faculty basketball game against Upper Darby on Monday, the bonfire and powder puff game on Tuesday, and a pep rally on Wednesday. Haverford teachers beat Upper Darby in their face-off in the middle school gym at the faculty basketball game, and the annual bonfire was a perfect segue into the Powder Puff game, in which the senior girls secured a victory against the juniors. Student Senate and the Red and Gold Club worked hard with administrators to plan the pep rally where cheerleaders, the dance team, and Red and Gold Club officers got the student body excited for the 99th annual Turkey Bowl on Thursday. The Turkey Bowl, which ended in a 42-14 victory against Upper Darby, had students and families braving the cold on Thanksgiving morning to cheer on the Fords in their last game of a record-breaking season. With the official end of the fall sports season last week, this week marks the official start for winter sports. Teams have been practicing for the past few weeks and get to represent Haverford in a variety of tournaments and games in the next week. Girls basketball will be hosting the Haverford High School Sports Hall of Fame tip-off tournament on Friday and Sunday, and boys basketball will be traveling to Sun Valley to participate in the tip-off tournament on Friday in hopes of advancing to a Saturday game. Haverford Wrestling will also be hosting the Haverford Duels on Sunday, so the high school will be busy this weekend. Indoor track will have their first meet of the season next weekend at Lehigh, and swimming will have an away meet on Tuesday, December 10th at Garnet Valley. Our cheerleaders will be traveling to Springford on Saturday for the PIAA District Championships, where they are sure to make us proud. The Haverford Life Skills class is currently participating in the Wreaths Across America fundraiser, which donates one wreath for every 8-point set is sold to ensure that all fallen armed service members in the national cemeteries across the United States will have a wreath placed on their grave this holiday season. With the World Affairs Club running a clothing and toiletry drive, NHS making progress on their annual gift drive, and Student Senate collecting and packaging toiletries for families who need them, Haverford students are in the giving spirit this December. National Honor Society inductees from the junior and senior classes were inducted on December 2nd after proving themselves to represent the 4 pillars of scholarship, leadership, character, and service throughout their years of high school. Members of the Spanish Honor Society will be inducted in the next week as well, signifying their strong grades in the classroom and throughout their transcripts, as well as their desire to immerse themselves in knowledge about Hispanic culture through cultural events and service projects. Tomorrow night is the WHHS 70th anniversary party, celebrating 70 years of our student-run radio station, which will be quite an event to commemorate the great work the students at WHHS have done over 7 decades. On Saturday, Haverford will be a testing location for the SAT and SAT subject tests, making it easier for students in the district to take that step towards college. The Writing Center is also open every Wednesday after school, which is a great place to go for help in the college writing essay process. Tomorrow, representatives from Rosemont College will be visiting HHS, with more visits from Hussein College and the U.S. Air Force in the coming weeks to help expose students to various options for colleges and post-high school opportunities. Even though we only have 11 school days until winter break, the next 2 weeks will be filled with community service, hard work, and exciting events in clubs, sports, and the classroom. Thank you again for having me here tonight.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is recognition of National Merit Scholars. Mr. Donahue?
Good evening, everyone. I just want to start out by apologizing to everyone here tonight because when I talked to Dr. Rushi in the summer, I said, yeah, we'll have plenty of room at Oakmont for the award ceremony. And so I just want to apologize for underestimating our students in the class of 2020. I didn't realize that we were going to have the largest number of national merit and semifinalists ever in the school history. I didn't realize that our football team was going to be the best football team we've ever had in the school history. I didn't realize that the rebuilding girls field hockey team was going to win a playoff game. I didn't realize that the boys and girls cross country team was going to be tops in Delaware County and in the district. And we don't even have our PMEA winners here tonight, and that would have probably put us over the fire limit. So I want to apologize for underestimating how great our students are, but I know every day how great they are. So first up, we're going to do our National Commended Scholars. If you could please call them up when your name is called. Our National Commended Scholars are one of the top 32,000 students on their PSAT scores. So the first up is Ben Gorse. Katrina Missick. June Park. Abby Christinger.
Congratulations.
Santiago Duque Bard. Josh Fingerhut. Marissa Gillespie.
Congratulations.
Rachel Helfer.
Congratulations.
Allison Kelly. Philip Lee. Brittany Long. Katie Nguyen. Skylar Painter. Jake Runk. Carlos Sanchez.
Congratulations.
Emily Sergio.
Thank you for dressing up.
The next five are national merit. The next four national merit semifinalists. Connor Murray, Christian Harper, and Christina Lopez could not be here tonight, but we'd like to congratulate them. Amon O'Connor.
Congratulations.
If you guys could get together for a picture. Next up, we're going to do our athletic recognitions, and I just want to mention Miss Patterson, our athletic director. Miss Patterson received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Haverford Hall of Fame this past week. This is her last year at Haverford, and we have great admiration and respect for everything she does, so let's give her a big hand. We know Miss Patterson probably dislikes that more than anything, but she deserves it, absolutely. Next up, we have Coach Taylor and Miss Minji are going to present the field hockey team with some certificates.
Good evening, everybody. I am Krista Taylor. I am the varsity field hockey coach. I want to congratulate the girls on having a wonderful season. We were 12-8 overall. We were 8-3 in the Central League against some really tough opponents this year. We won our first District 1 playoff game against Avon Grove, 2-1. It was a close game. And then we traveled up to CB East in the second round of playoffs. They scored in the first minute of the game, and I thought, uh-oh, this is going to be a tough one. And we lost 1-0. These girls played really, really tough. They played as a team. 14 players scored. over the course of the season. That's like pretty much the whole team, like minus like the goalies and like our 2 defensive backs, you know. So it was definitely a team effort. We had 8 shutouts. Our 2 goalies, Jenna and Anna, worked really hard together out and back in goal. Central League first team was senior Shannon Quayle, senior Katie Redding, junior Leah Drake. Honorable mention was our juniors Amelia Connors and our sophomore Maura Quayle. We look forward to seeing which of these girls will be nominated and receive recognition in all Main Line and all Delco in the upcoming weeks. So I'm going to give them a certificate. Are you handing these out? All right. All right. Mia Ciancio was not able to make it tonight. She's getting her wisdom teeth out. Our senior Jenna Cirillo. Senior Paige Corcoran. Senior Paige Corcoran. Senior Captain Eiley Kent is not here tonight. Senior Erin Klein. Our senior Abby Manier. Senior Captain Shannon Quayle. Senior Captain Katie Redding is not here. Erin Stednicki, senior. Our juniors, Mary Kate Ardisi. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Mia Shupin is not here tonight. Amelia Connors. Olivia Connors. And Sophia Connors. Leah Drake. Joey Miller is not here tonight. Anna Pivovarnik. And our sophomores, Maura Quayle and Ella Van Luvender. Sure. So again, thank you very much for the honor this evening. We're proud to represent Haverford Sports. And girls, thank you for coming out tonight. We really appreciate you being here to represent. Congratulations.
Get in there. Go ahead, you can get a picture.
Neighbor. Congratulations.
Parents, you can get a picture if you want. Next up, we have our football team with Coach Gale and board member Mr. Sal Cinto.
There you go. You're up.
On the way up here, some of the players were wondering why I didn't bring my cane with me. I got it last night at our banquet as a gag gift because they watched me limp around all the time, and they were nice enough to buy me a cane. I appreciate that. I think I can make it. Mr. Dunnegar already mentioned it was a historical year. In the history of Haverford football, we accomplished more than any other football team has ever accomplished. We have the most wins in the history of the school with 11. Our overall record was 11-3. And we went to the semifinals of District 1, which is the largest district in the state of Pennsylvania. Entered the tournament as a 12 seed, took down the 5 seed, then we took down the 4 seed, and then we played the 1 seed for the finals of the district to enter the finals. And lost 49-42, and it's just a matter of running out of time, to be quite honest with you. So these guys have accomplished more than any other team in the history of Haverford High School. It's quite a year. Mr. Dunning recommended that I didn't bring all 65 kids to the meeting tonight. So he asked me to keep it under 10, and it worked out okay, so I waited. I already knew we had our banquet last night. So I brought our captains and some of the other guys who won special awards. So It ended up being 9, so we're 1 short. We did okay. I brought one junior here with me tonight, and I'm going to announce him, and I guess we'll get our certificates and line up over there. Will Hickson, who is our Defensive Player of the Year, Co-Defensive Player of the Year.
Congratulations.
Next up will be John Cunningham. I don't think they're in any order. Our only returning offensive lineman this year and led the way, being a 2-year starter, John Cunningham, and captain, one of our captains. Next up is also a captain and a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Sean Reynolds. Kevin Gillespie is a co-MVP of the team, overall MVP, and a Scott Matzinger Award winner. Harry Carpenter, a Coaches Award winner and senior member. No, I'm sorry, Scott Matzinger Award winner. Am I right, Harry? Co-Scott Matzinger Award winner, which is a great honor in our program. Justin Burgess, Coaches Award winner and senior. Jason Wint, also a Coaches Award winner and Sid Young Award winner. Jason Wint. Let's see who I have. One gentleman could not make it tonight. He's a Danny Schultz Award winner at our banquet, Elihu Bay. And finally, last but not least, in the history of Haverford football, on a history-making team, this guy can be mentioned as the GOAT. I will tell you that. It stands for the greatest of all time. I found that out this year. All right. And if you can keep a secret, all right, it won't be announced till in a few days. He's being named as the Delaware County Player of the Year. But don't tell anybody. Trey Blair.
Cross country, and I did have to put a limit on the amount of cross country people that could be here tonight too. Our cross country teams, our boys and girls cross country teams, have the most members of any team in Delaware County. Both the boys and the girls have more members than any other school in Delaware County, and I believe most of the schools in District 1, we have more members than any other team, which is very, very impressive. Going to a cross-country practice, it's one of the toughest sports. You just run, and it's not a lot of fun, and unless you're a runner. And the amount of joy they have and the camaraderie is so awesome to see. And I was very fortunate to go to the Central League meet, and the way they cheer each other on is very, very impressive. So, Coach Williams and the cross-country team.
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce to the board Mike Donnelly, Josh Fingerhut seniors. Mike this year represented Haverford at the state championships. He also represented Haverford last year at the state championships. And his sophomore year, I believe, was at the state championships. He won the Delaware County Championship this year, as he did last year. He was undefeated in the regular season. He won the Abington Invitation, also as a senior. And of course, he's all Delco and all league. Josh, actually, this is the second award for Josh as a scholar athlete. He was honored this afternoon as well. He is also first team all Delco, and he's first team all Central League. And it's been a pleasure coaching them. In the last 4 years, thanks to runners like these two, the boys won 40 of 44 Central League meets. And I really don't like them to walk all the way around shaking your hands because they're so tired from training, but I may force them. So thank you very much. So, Mike and Josh.
Sure. Next up, we have our golf team, Miss Larson and Mr. Oxman. And Coach Gallagher forgot to mention his assistant coach, Coach Doherty, who's a teacher at the middle school. So just so we get it on the record, Coach Doherty was here. But more importantly, we're very fortunate to have coaches who are teachers in the district. And like Mr. Oxman, who's a teacher at the middle school, Mr. Doherty, Coach Gal, Mr. Wells, Miss Taylor. I mean, it's very, very fortunate to have such quality people as both teachers and coaches in our district. So thanks for forgetting him, because you helped me to remember, Coach Gal. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Oxman.
Thank you. Please let the record show that Riley is not here today, not because she blew off the meeting, but she's playing in a golf tournament in North Carolina. Literally, her season never ends. She plays all year round, and that's, her work ethic is reflection of her success for sure. Riley was an first-team all-league performer for the third straight year. She finished tied for first at the Central League tournament. She finished fifth out of 64 golfers at the district tournament. After the first round, she stood in 8th place, and instead of going home and putting her feet up on the couch, she went to the driving range. And then the next day, she survived the cut and finished 5th again out of 64 players. We're incredibly lucky to have her, and we're really excited for her senior year next year. Thanks.
Next up, we have Mr. Wells and the girls' cross-country team. And Miss Larson, if you could come back up.
I'd like to quickly thank the board and the administration and all the parents of the girls cross-country team for giving me the honor to be able to learn and work with these amazing young ladies and young gentlemen. And just so everyone knows, they have taught me so much more than I could ever teach them. This girls team came so far this year with their hard work. Last year, we were 30th in the district. We had 0 members on the all-Delco team. This year, we finished 2nd in the Central League. We finished 10th in the district, and we had 6, almost a complete team, 6 people honored on the all-Delco team. It was amazing, amazing season. And to put a cap on it, we ruined Strathaven's perfect season. By our girls squeaking out a 1-point victory over them at the Delco Championships. So I'd like to honor the girls that were part of that amazing 7-person team. Karen Buchanan, Connie Katkavich, McKenna Loney, Lauren McAdams, Ava McAnally. the next two amazing individuals were not only a part of the Delco championship team, but they also earned a high honors in All Central League and All Delco. So Katrina Mysick also was on the team, but she also earned first team All Central League. Maura Timoney was on the Delco team, but she also earned first team All Delco and first team All Central League. And I can't speak enough for the next young lady. She's a freshman. This is my first. This is my first year of coaching, so I made some mistakes, and one of the mistakes was not believing in her a little bit earlier than I should have. Katya Irasanova, she ran one varsity race this year, and in that one varsity race, she made it to states. So we're really looking forward to having her in the varsity lineup all the time in the future. Thank you again.
You guys want to get a picture? Get a picture with them?
Congratulations.
What a great group. And just knowing all these students, I would think the collective GPA in here is about 3.75 out of a 4.0 scale. Definitely, it might even be higher than that, just looking around the room and seeing everybody. So congratulations to all the students. I just like to thank the board. I know December's a busy time of year, but taking time out to honor the great work of these guys and all their hard work. And some of them wanted a Wawa gift card, but I think coming here and getting honored is better than a Wawa gift card. So thank you and have a good night.
Okay, well, that was great. Next item on our agenda is Linwood Construction Project Update. Ken Matthews.
Hello, thank you. Welcome to the new board members as well. Congratulations. Just a brief update tonight because we won't be back again until the new year, which is hard to believe already since the project started in June, 6 months ago. But things are going very well. They continue to be. Steel is rolling along. The carpenters have started the exterior of the building. You'll start to see some green board going up on Lawrence Road. That's not the color of the building, so if anybody's wondering. So we'll start to enclose it. We'll be pouring the second and third floors probably over the next 4 to 6 weeks. So then you'll really start to see ductwork going up inside, the electricians starting. So the building will really start to take shape over the next 4 to 6 weeks. But everything remains on schedule. We'll see how we battle the winter months. They will have to do some temporary heat and whatnot, but hopefully that gets us through everything. So again, all good news. Everybody continues to work well together, so things are moving along. And then that being said, tonight we have a few change orders, which is actually money coming back to the district, which is a rarity, but it's a good thing. The first one is a small change. We had to upgrade some electrical boxes in the kitchen, or excuse me, the dishwasher room to stainless steel. They were not specified that way. They need to be for the moisture resistance, so that's a small one for $1,148. One of the things, we have a larger credit coming back for $18,000. The rooftop units were specified with these specialty vibration isolation curbs. After working with the manufacturer and the engineer, they're not required. So that's a credit coming back to the district. And then the third change order this evening is just another small credit. The architect decided to change manufacturers on the acoustical panels in the music room. They're hung on the wall to help with the sound. They just felt like there was a better manufacturer, and it ended up being a credit to the project of $2,620. Same, does the same thing, it just happens to cost a little less. So those are the three change orders this evening, and certainly take any questions or anything on progress or the change orders.
Questions or comments from the board? Okay, great.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next
Guess
year.
we'll say Happy New Year
Happy
to
New
you.
Year. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.
Next item on our agenda is the high school course selection guide. Ms. Saxa and Mr. Donaghy.
In addition to Mr. Donaghy and me, we are joined by Dr. Nesbitt, who is our STEM coordinator, Sandy Connolly, who is our humanities coordinator, and perhaps John Baradoni will make his way up here at some point.
And there he is.
And there he is. Okay, great. Welcome. Thank you, everybody, for this opportunity to share with you the high school course selection guide. This is something we bring to you each December, and it shares what our offerings will be to students, and we'll share a little bit of a timeline for all of the things associated with this guide as we go throughout the presentation. Just to provide a little context, the high school course selection guide is typically produced and revised as a result of the curriculum review process, which we engage in annually. So typically we take at least one subject a year and look at it K through 12. We spend the year determining what's working, what's new that's out there, what's research-based that's out there, what changes might we make. We spend a year developing what we think will be a program that encompasses all of the research that we've done, and then we spend a year implementing and trying all those things, and then subsequent years include adjusting and aligning the curriculum according to the results that we're getting until we get to a whole full-scale review again in about 7 years. So what you'll see in these guides is typically a focus on newly proposed courses as a result of the audit process. And we also like to report on those that we have recently implemented to just give you a little bit of an update. So, without further ado, I'll introduce Dr. Nesbitt.
Good evening. So last year, as we went through the science audit, the STEM audit, one of the things that we talked a lot about was our technology education classes as well. I had several meetings with them and talked to them about various things. And we're excited to bring a couple changes to the technology education curriculum. And really, there's some big ideas that we were looking for, and that was increasing the student engagement with the schools. So one of the projects will involve creating a school store at the high school, and the technology education students will actually be building things and making things, 3D printing things, cutting things, and selling things in that school store. Increasing alignment with technical education, just making sure that our courses create a pipeway, and we have several stories from kids who take courses at our school, several that take our woodshop course, and they say, because of this course, I'm definitely going to apply at the Delaware County Intermediate Unit. And then we also wanted to develop courses which can provide for jobs in STEM and possibly for students that may not necessarily go to the Intermediate Unit, Delaware County Technical School. So we also want to have those as options as well. So the three courses that we'll be offering that are new will be Manufacturing 2. So we offer a manufacturing class that goes through the process of how do you manufacture something. And they do a process where they mass produce screen printed t-shirts. And this class already produces a lot of t-shirts for a lot of clubs and activities throughout the high school. And now they'll also be doing that for individuals, so they'll be able to customize shirts for almost anyone, for almost anything. They'll be able to do the graphic design for it, print it in a larger scale, and they have several other things that they're also able to print towards and make things for. The construction technology is, it was a home maintenance class, and again, from the stories with the students and talking with the Delaware County Technical School, kids who were taking this course wanted a little bit more, a little bit deeper of an experience. They felt as though they knew how to wire one light switch and one circuit, and they really wanted to talk about how do I wire an entire room or an entire house and at least have that understanding. So that's why we renamed it towards construction technology and just going a little bit deeper into the curriculum. And then lastly, you may or may not be aware that drone piloting is sort of a new STEM field that if you're over 16 years old, you can get a FAA drone pilot's license and commercially fly drones. And those drones are then being used for almost all those videos. When you look at travel videos, when you look at videos of Philadelphia, here's just a quick example of a drone. Quick example of a drone video of Philadelphia. And in order to do this, you do need a pilot's license. Depending on where you're doing it, sometimes you have to get permission from the local ordinances, the local township. In many places, you do not need to get that permission, but you can't do it without a license. So we are creating a course in which we will prepare students to take the license. There is a fee associated with it, just like taking an AP course or many of our other courses. We'll prepare students for it and then set them up for it. If they're older than 16 and choose to sit and take the exam, they'll be eligible to take that exam. And part of the course will both be the drone piloting and also the videography that you see tied to these things. Oftentimes the raw footage, obviously they've added our famous song to the background of this. So, there's some minor videography skills that are going involved to make it an interesting and engaging video. So that's one of our new courses that we're proposing for next year. Two minor updates. We are renaming IPS. This was part of the science audit. IPS, almost nobody knew what it stood for. They just called it IPS. It was Introduction to the Physical Setting. And we talked about this many times as we went through the science audit, how we've now created an engineering course where kids are really hands-on designing things, making things. So that course is going to be called Engineering to Learn. And we also had a junior senior applied physics class. And we also found that many of these students are really interested in hands-on projects, and we thought that also changing it to an applied engineering course made sense. This year, that class itself actually sent emails out to all the principals, and Linwood's principal said, "We'd love to talk to you," and the kids went to Linwood and interviewed the kids and said, "What could we build for you that would be cool?" And together they came up with the idea that they're building an exercise bike that'll charge the Chromebooks. So kids who are in this applied physics class are actually learning about motors and electronics and putting together pedals that will create a generator that will actually be able to charge a battery that will in turn charge the Chromebooks. So that's why we're sort of renaming it Applied Engineering, and everybody was really excited about projects like that.
I just want to go on the record that the assistant principals are in charge of any problems with the drones that the students can figure out. Our work study program was for 11th and 12th grade only, and with the new state regulations, career and college readiness, we felt it was appropriate to move our work-study program down to the 10th grade, where students can get a credit or partial credits for going out and working, getting some real-life experience. A lot of the jobs are local, but some students do take jobs in fields where they might be interested in the future. So we wanted to open up to 10th grade students, because 10th graders, they start to turn 16. They start getting jobs at that point, and we want to encourage that. And we want to encourage those real life skills. So it's just a minor change that we're moving that down to 10th grade. And then work study was always a thing where it was kind of to keep the seniors busy. And this is more of a thing where we want them to have practical skills. We want them to be doing their resume. We want them to be filling out applications. We want them to be ready, when they move on after the high school.
Excuse me, doesn't the state want us to start doing that like in elementary school?
Third grade? Yeah, but most people can't get working papers until they're a little bit older. But maybe in a couple years, the state will have them out working too, like they used to in the old days. The other thing, we're switching a little bit is with our Delaware County Technical School. Again, that has been, if a student's interested, the counselors work with them, the administrators work with them to maybe steer them towards a technical school, but we want to give each student knowledge of what is in the technical school. The Delaware County IU is revamping their programs. So for some of their programs, it is you have to apply, you have to get in, you have to have a certain GPA, you have to have certain activities. So for those things, we're making, our medical careers is already honors credit, but if any student takes the biotech or the engineering courses, we want to offer them honors credit too, because sometimes they get deterred from taking those classes at the IU because it is an honors credit, but it is an honors level course as how we deem and in our conversations, with our curriculum department. And then we're going to, in our course guide, put the Delaware County Tech School offerings. They used to be separate. Again, it was a separate program. And it even though it is technically a separate program, it's one of our programs that we offer. So we want to make sure that if you look in the sciences, you'll see where these things fit in, or if you look in the phys ed department, you'll see the exercise physiology. So it makes our course offerings better when we can put these things in our course offerings and not have it separate. And that's what we want to do. And we want the kids also to feel included. And it's not a separate program. It's one of our programs. It's just at a different place, just like our cyber school that we'll talk about in a couple of minutes.
Great. So from drones, we're going to talk about social studies updates. So we have some changes that are resulting from our audit findings. We finished our audit last year, and so this year we're developing courses, and in so doing, we decided to do a couple of things. We have decided to realign U.S. history to be 2 consecutive years, so it's going to go 8th and 9th grade back to back, so students won't have to be reminded of what they learned in 8th grade when they take it. They used to take it later, and so now it'll be back to back. We're also going to develop a new world history course, which is going to be combining what was world cultures and Western civilizations. They used to take Western Civ in 9th grade and then world cultures. And so we're going to put those two together and make that a world history class. We're planning on increasing and enhancing the civics component of our U.S. Civics and Government course, which is going to be taken in 11th and 12th grade. During this transition, things are going to be happening over a couple of grades, just to make sure that we have everybody hitting the requirements. And then the civics exam, which is going to be required, will be taken at the end of that course. We also are doing this so that we can have increased electives. And so on this slide, whoop, that's not what I wanted to do.
Excuse me, with the civics exam, that's the one where we have to give the exam, but they don't have to pass, is that correct?
They do have to pass it. We have to decide what it is. We get to create it. So that's what we're working on.
We assume all our students will pass the test.
Yes, they will pass.
Unless you're present. Related to that, does it have to be a test, or can it be some sort of project-based learning or portfolio?
That's what we're working on. And we're also looking to see what are other districts doing so that we don't need to be the pioneer on that, but we're figuring out how are other districts in the state solving that as well. So here is to explain the course sequence a little bit more. You can see on the left the current course sequence, and then the new course sequence on the right. And so U.S. history has always been in 8th grade. Now we'll have U.S. history 2 in 9th grade, world history will be in 10th grade, and U.S. civics and government will be in 11th. And next year it will also be in 12th because those seniors haven't taken it yet, and that's a required course that we have. So by 2022, 2023, the 12th grade students will have lots of opportunity to take electives because they will have already taken U.S. history, world history, and U.S. civics and government, and we'll give them a lot more opportunity to take additional AP classes and additional electives. The other thing that's really exciting that we're doing is we're going to be offering AP level, honors level, and academic level for those 3 major courses for U.S. history, world history, and U.S. civics and government. So 9th grade students next year will have the opportunity to take an AP US. Now, usually that's offered for a 1-semester course, but because these are 9th grade students and it's their first opportunity to take an AP, we want them to be successful and to have a good experience with it. So the 9th grade students who take it will have a year long to finish that AP US history. If students choose to take that at a later grade level, maybe they hadn't taken it yet and they want that AP, they can take it in a 10th, 11th, or 12th grade, but they will need, as an additional elective, but they will need to take it in a semester. So we're going to offer it 2 different ways for them. So we also will have the other AP World and AP Government opportunities. And then in addition to that, we're going to have new electives that we're proposing, or that we're adding into our course selection guide. On the left, you can see all the electives we currently have, but we didn't feel like that was quite enough, and there was a lot of opportunities our teachers had brought up that they wanted to teach, and we had interest from our student survey to see what kinds of courses students will want to take. So we're going to be adding an AP Human Geography, African American Studies, Environmental Studies, and Women's Studies, and then Choices in Crisis, a study of the Holocaust, and an elections elective. And with that, we are sort of taking the minority studies and breaking it apart and having individual courses that are going to be addressing different minority populations. And then we have more electives we're going to propose next year because we've got some great ideas. And as our student population grows and the opportunity for electives grow at the high school, we'll be able to add more electives. Okay, next.
So this is just a reminder of some of the changes that we made last year and put in the course selection guide. We had made mobile apps 1 and 2 and mobile apps Lite, and I think there's about 60 students in those classes this year. Both in mobile apps 1 and 2. I don't think we offered mobile apps Lite, which was going to be every other day. I don't think anyone took us up on that this year, but it's still going to be offered. Earth Science, I think we ended up with 2 sections of Earth Science, about 50 students, 60 students in that class. And then Astronomy, I think we ended up with 3 sections, 75 to 90 students, 5 sections. Okay, so we ended up with like 120 students that wanted Astronomy, which we expected that Astronomy was going to probably be more popular than Earth Science, but we wanted to make sure we offered both because in the audit we did not offer Earth Science or Astronomy. And then Create, Code, and Construct we're really excited about. It's again another sort of engineering coding overlap where kids are using Arduinos. I've described these before. They're little tiny computers that were coming up with projects, coding them, and making them. If anybody was at Discover Day and they got a little magic wand and they swiped the magic wand on something and something moved, that was all done with the Create, Code, and Construct concept. They were using Arduino boards to make these objects move.
I thought that was magic, no?
Yeah.
It's great. Super cool. I thought it was magic.
Pure science. But it was awesome. It was magical. So we're very excited that all those courses ran. All of them were very popular, and we just expect that they'll keep growing.
You heard both Jeff and Sandy mention it, but just to reiterate, we do survey the students regarding what kinds of courses they think they'd be interested in taking, and then they also sort of vote with their registration as well, because sometimes you believe that I would be interested theoretically in taking something, and then when it comes down to what can fit in my schedule this year, the decisions have to be narrowed a bit, and that's expected. But I did want to highlight the fact that the high school administration, as well as the curriculum team, goes really out of its way to find out what students might be interested in taking and tries to tailor to the students' requests as much as to what we're finding in our audit process. Just a mention, we usually do mention something about our Haverford online course selection guide at the same time. The course selection guide that is available to our high school students is posted online. We do not have any specific additions to the course selection guide. Typically, it's our core courses that are offered through this. There are a few of those electives. There is something that's related that students could take. For example, there is a minority studies type of online course that you could take instead of the African American Studies elective if you preferred to be online as opposed to coming in. One of the things we do encourage people to do is to consider coming here for those courses, those electives that may be better in person or maybe sort of singular in what we can offer here in the building versus what could be offered online. So again, it is available online. We sort of wrote the pathway there as opposed to the actual link because we didn't think anyone was going to type in the link. But you can just go right to our high school or to the schools section and then look up Haverford online. So just as far as next steps are concerned, we present the course selection guide to the board this evening. We will ask at our next meeting on December 19th for your approval as part of the business agenda. And then as long as going forward you do grant us that approval, we will publish the guide right away so students can get looking at what the courses are. And then course selection process begins usually in February. Is that right? End of January. Okay, end of January we're going to get on board so students can know as soon as possible what courses are going to be out there and make decisions about their careers. Are there any questions?
I had a question about the drones course, which is very exciting, but I'm curious to know what kind of ethics component will be included in that, being that these are potentially tools of surveillance and that there could be invasion of privacy issues. And I quickly reviewed the FAA exam and like what topics are covered, and I didn't see anything on ethics within that. So I was hoping you all would incorporate.
It's a good idea. We'll definitely incorporate it. Most of what these things are being used for real estate, hired for some specific purpose, but you're right, invasion of privacy and keeping those types of things will be part of whatever we create. Yeah.
Other questions, comments from the board?
Can I ask a question about the work study? What kinds of jobs do the students usually do for their work?
It ranges. It depends. Right now, you have to have a pay stub, so it can't. It has to be. It's a lot of jobs in the communities. Sometimes they do get a low-level entry job with their family members, so they can range. So in the summer, they might work at a law firm, or they might work at Wawa. Like it could range. There is a wide range of jobs, and we're just encouraging students to get out there earlier and younger and try to build that work ethic and stamina more than anything else. So on the weekends, our kids are very active in activities and everything else, but so it's all different types of jobs. And then we have a transition coordinator who works with our special ed students who is finding them jobs in the communities, and the community's been very receptive to getting those students in to jobs in the community. And our work credits wasn't really offered to that community in the past. And we want to push that more. And if they're working and they're getting a pay stub, they should be getting credit with us too. So that's kind of another avenue we're looking at.
Thank you.
I also wanted to ask how the course selection guides are being distributed. I know in the past we've received paper copies. This looks like it's more online now.
It's online. It's 107.
It's 100 pages. Currently, I'm working on the index, which will probably bump it up to about 110 pages.
So we're going to save a lot of paper.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes. The students are great online, so they don't have a problem paging through it. As us older folk need sometimes a hard copy to get from 56 to 57 to 58, but these guys can just hit the bar there and go right to 56. It's amazing, the technology. So we're going paperless, and we even with the 8th grade, we're paperless as we schedule. So they just go right on their Chromebooks and do it, and it's great, and it's quicker.
There's a lot of great content in there, and I think a really robust set of classes. How do teachers maybe help kids navigate and understand the options? I know that you can flip through the book and maybe ask a friend who's taken it, but it seems like there's a lot to discover and understand.
Sure. So it's a combination of our counselors and the teachers. So the teachers really want to push their classes, so they get people in their electives, which is good, and it's not done in a competitive way. It's more if they see a student who has an interest, in, no matter what it might be, they encourage them to take the next level or the next step. So the teachers really, at this time in January, they'll start promoting their classes a little bit and going over their classes, and a lot of the questions get answered there. And then there's a lot of questions that get answered in the counseling office with the grade level principals. A lot of questions get answered. And then the students now email a lot. So it's great. So they email us and say, can I talk to you? I don't understand what some of the new courses, they might not understand what it is, or coding. They think it might be difficult. And then when you explain it to them, they say, oh, that sounds like I could do that. And so it's a lot of interaction between the adults and the students in the school. And it comes from a lot of different areas.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Could you speak to the differences between the academic track, the honors track, and I guess I understand the difference between AP, but how is it determined, like what students are allowed to take? Are there certain courses that students may be deterred from enrolling in?
We don't deter. We encourage as much as we can, but some of the maths or some of the next level, we're not going to just let you dive into Spanish 4 if you haven't had one and two. Some things are very logical. And then other things, we have to make determinations on different pathways, whether you want to go into pre-calc and calculus, you want to go into statistics, do you want to go into AP chemistry, do you want to go in AP bio? So there's these courses, once you start moving up, that you have to meet with, that's where you have to meet with the teachers and the counselors and have a conversation and determine what areas you want to go to. Our students are very ambitious too, so sometimes they take a lot of AP courses, and sometimes you have to say, okay, let's look at your schedule next year. What are you interested in, or what, and then we look at the data. I mean, we look at their grades, we look at their projections. The great thing is you have AP potential projections from the College Board. You have it from the state of Pennsylvania through Keystone. So we have a lot of data that we can use. So if we see, and then the counselors check every single schedule. So if they see someone biting off a little more than they can chew, they'll have a conversation with them and their parents. Or if they see someone who maybe is a senior who is trying to take an extra study hall or an extra, trying to get out of something, then we encourage them to meet with the counselor again, and that's a spot where you can do one of these great electives that we have that maybe isn't too taxing, but is still preparing them for when they go to college. It's like the beginning of a course that when they go to college. So the counselors look at every single schedule, and then the administrators, we spot check schedules. We don't look at every single one, but we spot check schedules to make sure we're all on the same page.
So I guess my understanding of what academic is here is like what I knew growing up as college prep. So, I mean, it depends on basically your adeptness of the subject matter,
We've
right?
changed the wording back to college prep.
Okay.
You'll see that in the course selection guide, we've removed the academic term.
Okay, because it's in the
It is,
presentations. Academic.
it is
Okay.
back to college prep.
Great.
And we then have career track. We do work with the 8th grade, in 9th and 10th, Miss E and I will go down in January and we'll work with the 8th grade about kind of determining their initial levels. And then from there, once they're in those courses, math, English, history, there is flexibility in there. But we try to determine that based on all the different data points that we have in discussion with the middle school to get them on the right path. Now, of course, there's always discussion too. If a kid wants to challenge themselves and a parent wants to challenge, we meet with them. We do have different processes in place to help challenge those and do that, but we always make sure we have an informed decision. But we do work to get them kind of initially on the right path, to get them properly stressed, we like to call it. We like to be stressed, but not stressed out. And we want to make sure we challenge them appropriately.
And Mr. Baradoni, Miss Edmonston have a science math background, so they are very good at meeting with the parents and discussing, what exactly the math's going to look like. Usually that's the most difficult in determining whether you want to make that leap or not.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much. Next agenda item, is Dr. Rushi has some remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Feinberg. Before I begin the remarks I have for this evening, I just want to comment. I have had opportunity where I have been in both our middle and our high school where conversations were occurring outside of this course selection process, and administrators have been taking a look at where children are placed and can they move, up a level. What can they do to, encourage students to really work at their potential. So our staff members are really looking at that all year long, not just at the time that children are making their course selection. So I just wanted to point that out. Just a few updates. Periodically, I like to take this time to give you an update on a couple of things. Our strategic planning forums for community members, we held 3 of those in November. Some folks have contacted us. They were sorry they couldn't make it. Was there a way that they could get some information, share ideas that they have? And we've been encouraging those folks to email Anna Deacon here at the district so that she can compile all of that information for the person that we're working with. The survey, and there will be surveys. So there will be a survey that will go out to the community. There will be surveys for all staff members. There will be surveys for students in grades 5 up through the high school. And they will be issuing them, if we don't get them right before the winter break, we may wait till right after, and then there will be a sufficient period of time for people to complete those. I had the pleasure of attending the concert at the middle school this week, packed house over there, but it was certainly a wonderful display of talent. If you missed that one, there's an elementary concert on December 17th, and a high school concert is on December 11th. Some good publicity that we had recently. Hopefully, if you didn't see it, look for Ryan Orr from KCBA Architects. Spent the greater portion of a day over at Linwood, meeting with students in grades 3, 4, and 5. Because of the configuration of Linwood, he was actually able to work with them right out in that corridor in front of the huge window and explain to them different aspects of the project and talk about what it's like to be an architect and when he thought he knew he wanted to be an architect and the schooling that he had to acquire in order to become the architect that he is. So that was and we had some nice press coverage of that. We appreciate that when we get that. A project that we're exploring that I just wanted to inform the board of, there is an opportunity of a Growing Greener Green Stormwater Infrastructure Grant that has been proposed by the Darby Creek Valley Association. Specifically, we would be looking at the feasibility of constructing a rain garden or a bioswale on the property over at Chatham Park. And just for our newly elected board members, we have had a long-standing practice here. If we are looking at any kind of project that is going to change the plant configuration, if you will, not like the actual exterior of a building, making changes that would last for a long period of time, we made sure that those changes are discussed with the board because, some of these changes will outlive those of us who are making them at this time. So we don't have a full, complete sketch of ideas to show you this evening. We recently became aware of the grant. We're trying to learn all that we can about it. We certainly know that there's educational opportunities so that students would be able to learn about stormwater infrastructure, learn about the value of a rain garden or a bioswale. We're at a point now where Dr. Nesbitt will be able to be in contact with administration in Upper Moreland School District, which recently they worked on a similar grant, although they're not part of the Delaware Valley Consortium, but they did work on a similar grant. So he will be talking with them. And for us, I guess the biggest thing for us to look at now is what exactly the design and the construction of it would actually look like. If the time frame is too quick for us to turn this around and pursue it, then at least we've learned about it and we will continue to learn so that Those of you who are in the field of education know that these grants, when they come along, there's not always a long window of time to research it. We'll have ourselves prepared so that we will know how we can move forward with it. David, if I may ask you, you're more knowledgeable about the rain gardens, the biospheres and bioswale, and what could possibly be the advantage to the community as well.
Sure, yeah. One of the things that we would look at as part of this grant would be to have some educational plaques that would be placed to, inform the, not just the students, but the community about what these things are. Not everybody knows what a rain garden is or what green stormwater infrastructure is, but that is, this is an emerging field, and obviously that'd be something that we would want to consider. And one thing I'll just echo what Dr. Rushi indicated earlier. If the time frame here is too rapid, the good news is we were approached about this grant. We did not go out and actively ask people. We were approached by it. So at the very least, the good news is we're on the radar. So obviously we look for these opportunities in the future. Should we go after this grant or a similar grant, it would be 100% capital funded grant. So we would be paying nothing out of pocket. We would just simply have to manage the maintenance and the upkeep and those types of things. But good news is we are at least, like I said, we're on the radar. So I guess we'll see where things go with this and where things go beyond this as well.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is budget transfers. I'll accept a motion to approve the budget transfers as listed.
Move. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? This is a roll call vote.
And Dr. Crispin?
Yes.
Mr. Fleischer?
Yes.
Ms. Larson?
Yes.
Ms. Mingy?
Yes.
Mr. Cinto?
Yes.
Mr. Schwartz?
Yes.
Ms. Snodgrass?
Yes.
Ms. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Feinberg?
Yes. 9 voting yes. Thank you. I'll accept a motion to approve the bill lists as listed.
Move. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll accept the motion to accept the CBD change orders as listed.
Moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll accept the motion to approve a resolution authorizing proposed preliminary budget display and advertising and authorizing referendum exception notice.
Moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Mr. Riegel, for the benefit of the new folks, could you give us a 1 minute?
Yeah, this is a formality, and we have to approve the adopt the preliminary budget by January 23rd. And actually, the deadline's the 29th. That's our nearest board meeting. So we're going to have to advertise before that, 20 days before that, and that would be January 3rd. So we need authorization from you to be able to advertise and show, put it up for, in our office for display. So we will have at our 9th meeting, we'll probably do the first look, and then the 23rd, we'll have to adopt the budget to stay within the parameters of Act 1.
So we don't anticipate a referendum action.
We are going to propose a budget with using an Act 1 referendum, but that would just create the ceiling. So that doesn't mean that we're not going to stay
Exceptions.
within the Act 1 index. When we did the projections for the construction, we were looking at a 3.2% increase, but obviously things have changed. The numbers have gotten better, but we want to make sure we have a ceiling so that if we need a little bit extra, we have it. So.
Again, for the benefit of the new board members, there's a law called Act 1 that sets the maximum percentage budget increase each year. And it varies. It's based on statewide average wage, and I forget what the other index is, but there are also a couple of allowable exceptions for special ed and
Special ed,
pensions still.
And some limited basis construction financing.
And if you were to, if you had a budget that would exceed the Act One index, given those exceptions, then you would need to actually put it out to a public referendum. That's part of the reason for the deadline on this, is that it has to be on the ballot. I don't think there's been any referenda in the state for several years, and I think in all the time that Act One's been in place, which is, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 2 or 3 districts actually applied for and passed referendum.
Right, only one district has actually approved a referendum.
Okay.
On building, let's put it that way. But the Act One index is 2.6%. If we would go for a partial referendum exception for the special ed if we're eligible, and if we need it, I would say from the projections, the highest we would go is 3.2%. But I'm optimistic because some of the numbers in our financing have come out better than when we did the projections, and some of the other numbers have also. So we'll wait and see when we have all the budget accumulated, but I'm optimistic that even if we do pass a referendum exception, we might still stay within the Act One index.
Okay. Thank you. So did we get a motion and a second on this already?
Moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, I'll accept a motion to approve the agreement between the Delaware County Intermediate Unit and the School District of Haverford Township for Title I services for non-public participation for the 2019-2020 school year at a cost of $13,508.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
For the benefit of the public, could someone explain what the non-public participation means?
Sure. As part of our federal programs, when we are offering services, we are also obligated to offer services for an equitable share to township residents. So if those township residents are in non-public schools, we provide equitable shares of our Title I funding for improved instructional design for those students as well. So this would fall under that category.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Sure.
I'll accept the motion to approve the retirements and resignations as listed.
Moved.
Seconded.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll accept a motion to approve the appointments as listed.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll accept the motion to approve the leave of absence as listed.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll accept a motion to approve the educational contract for a student attending out-of-district placement for the 2019-2020 school year as listed.
Approved. Oh. Moved.
Second.
I approve
Where's
it
the
too,
gavel?
but.
You want the gavel back?
Give her that gavel once, I'm telling you. Grab that gavel.
That gavel went to your head. the other day.
Right to my ass. Jeez.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And board reports. We could start.
Dave.
Dave,
Dave,
would
give
you,
board report.
is there anything you would like to,
I started Monday. I already have a report. Nothing for me, no.
Kristen?
Just want to welcome the new board members, and I hope you don't run screaming and that you'll join us for the next meeting.
I was just going to also comment on the lovely middle school band and orchestra concert night, and also comment on how crowded it is, which may be a function of at the end of the evening. They said there were 400 students participating, which is an impressive level of participation, and also just a really nice display of musical talent.
It's great. Now, I can't see who's down there at the end. Antoinette?
Oh, sure. We did just meet on Monday, but I didn't get a chance to say thank you to the community for putting your faith in me. I'm really excited to get started. I've enjoyed working with everyone so far for the week, and and I look forward to another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Sal?
Just want to echo the sentiments on the middle school concert. Dr. Rushi, it's always nice to see you at events. Thank you for being so involved with our community and the events, and congratulations to the faculty, the music faculty. It was they did such a great job, and congratulations to Seventh Heaven. Good luck to them. They were at the Flyers game, and Mrs. Langley. Thank you for all of their work and support, and all the parents. From the PSBA liaison end of things, for our new board members, in addition to the training that the state requires, there are some online modules that are available on the webpage. And they're actually pretty good, and there's some different, you can bounce around and go to some different places. So if you're interested, I don't know if they eventually will set you up with a username and password for the portal, and then you can just apply for them, and it's all kind of included. So if you're interested in that, or you have any questions, feel free to just reach out, and I'll put you in touch. But they're pretty good about getting in touch. And those online modules are pretty good, yeah.
Thanks, Sal.
Sure.
All right.
Congratulations to everyone tonight from the high school. Impressive showing, Mr. Donaghy. Way to underestimate. Welcome new people.
I want to echo what Ms. Snodgrass said, so thank you to everybody. I also wanted to say thank you to Dr. Rushi, your whole team, all of your staff. I've asked so many questions this week. Everybody has been so helpful, so
Good.
responsive. I really appreciate it, so thank you. Thanks, all of you.
We want you to feel as comfortable as possible.
Susan?
First of all, I also want to welcome the new members, and I look forward to working with all of you. I also want to put in a word as a parent, as a teacher, as an administrator for Joanne Patterson. I'm sad that it's her last year. I was a parent of an athlete, and there was nobody like her. She really goes to every game, knew everything, knew everyone, knew every student, and she just impressed me every time I worked with her, so I congratulate Joanne on a job well done. I went to the IU, the Delaware County IU last night for a meeting, and one of the things that was talked about is what's going on in Chester Upland with their charter schools. It has been in the newspapers, but I feel like sometimes it doesn't get this far up. So I'm actually going to read you what was written last night, and it was a very large conversation. Chester Community Charter School is the largest brick-and-mortar charter school in the state, with more than 4,300 students. Already educates more than half of the district's elementary school children in Chester. Now, we have talked about that. We pay charter school, we pay, how much money do we pay? About 100? How much money do we have to pay to charter schools?
Like we were about 300,000.
About $300,000. Chester's in the millions. And remember, that's the money that's for their public schools. But they have to give them to Vahan Gurigan. Did I say it right? Guregian, I knew you'd know. A very wealthy entrepreneur and the CEO of CSMI, which manages the Chester Community Charter School, and also one of the charter in the state lobbyist's biggest donors. The charter filed a petition earlier this month in the Delaware County Court of Common Pleas, asking the court to direct the district and PDE to issue requests for, there's a lot of words, for proposals for charters to educate the remaining elementary school students in the district, all of them. The petition cites a conversion provision of Act 141 of 2012, which allows the state to declare certain districts, including Chester Upland, as being in financial recovery status and places them under receivership. According to the petition, the district may convert an existing school to a charter school under that act only if it would result in financial savings. I don't know who the financial savings are for. The petition does not target the high school, which would retain approximately 1,400 of the district's 7,000 students. But in reality, what we're saying is charters are funded by public money that would otherwise go to districts at a rate of about 75% of whatever the district would receive from the state. Considering that they want to take every single elementary and middle school child away from the public schools and put them in charter schools for Mr. Garigian, that means that they would leave 1,800 high school kids in Chester Upland High School with really no money to run the schools. With all the teachers would be, everything that they have tried to build and work so hard to get out of receivership would be gone. They had a rally slated to save Chester schools from charter. I think it's coming up actually tomorrow. I just think that it's so important for all of us to know that this is happening. It's coming out of Harrisburg and it's happening close to us. Chester Upland is in, when the athletes talk about the district and we talk about what goes on in Delaware County, they're in Delaware County. They're not far away. So I just want everybody to understand that this charter school thing is not going away, and it's getting stronger in the state legislature, and that's what we talked about at the Delaware County Intermediate Unit last night. Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome. I'd also like to welcome the new board members and say that please encourage you to keep asking questions, as many as you have, and if we don't have an answer immediately, we'll try and get one for you. But welcome aboard, and we look forward to working with you.
Thanks.
A couple things on the charter front. There are a few different efforts underway. The Pennsylvania Association of School Administrators has a working group or a caucus called, that is focused just on the larger urban school districts. It used to be called the Pennsylvania League of Urban Schools, but now it's just a caucus under PASA. Anyway, today they held simultaneous press conferences all over the state at noon to talk about school funding issues and the impact that charter funding has on their districts. And unfortunately, the urban districts are the ones that are hit the hardest when we don't fund the school funding formula that the state passed a few years ago, because they tend to have the highest levels of poverty and the highest levels of concentrated poverty. And most of the issues that were defined in the basic education funding formula that would call for additional funding. Even though that funding formula has been in place for, I think, 3 years at this point, only about 11 or 12% of the money is going through the formula. At the rate we're going with this, kids that are in kindergarten now in those districts will graduate before those districts get the funding that they deserve. The problem with charters, charters aren't going away, and it's not a case of what's better or worse. I think in the major broad studies, they do about the same. The problem is with the funding. And when you take a few kids out of a school, you still have all the fixed expenses for that school. They don't go down at all. Unless you have 30 kids in third grade who all decide to go to a charter school, you still have the same staffing requirements. Up until, I think, 2008, the state had a budget line to reimburse school districts for about 1/3 of their charter school expenses, but it was completely eliminated. So it'll be curious to see what happens between now and June with the charter issue. The governor's made it a priority, and there are a couple of different statewide working groups. just been recruited for a PSBA, has a charter group that's going to start meeting in December. So we'll keep you posted on that issue. Thank you to folks who reached out to express concerns on the voucher bill in the last couple of weeks. We were able to keep it from coming to a full floor vote, but Speaker Turzai is like a dog with a bone with this one, and I think we're probably going to see it come back around again. So we'll keep you posted on that also. Board met in executive session prior to the public meeting to have an opportunity to review personnel matters, including appointments, retirements, and leaves of absence. You'd think I would have this sentence memorized by now, wouldn't you? With that, I'll accept the motion to, thank you, Dr. Rishi. I'm too eager. The next regular public board meeting is scheduled to be held Thursday, December 19th, 2019, in the board conference room in the Oakmont Administration Building. With that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Thanks, everybody.